Okay, welcome back to the stream. And I guess I'm just on time right now, at least for 12 o'clock again, because things were late again. I'm gonna do something though that stops that, but that's okay. I'm gonna pretty much be doing today kind of what I did yesterday, where I'm trying to work on what else? Updates. Oh, I did have a reaction, good reaction. Oh, that's good. Clear notifications. And what's this? Oh, Firefox. That doesn't matter. In fact, let's install updates. Cancel. See if we can do it over here. Okay. Let's bring this back here. Alrighty. Okay. Anywho, um, another notification here. Oh, think about community space, whatever. That's a live thing, I think. Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of react here, again from scratch. Okay, so for anybody that knows or nobody that knows, whatever. Sorry, sorry, I'm not on it today, but so what I'm trying to do is I want to move all the room things like ID and label and all that stuff. Um, and label is just a text name. Um, it doesn't have it's like this main menu and channel lands one. See, there's no underline. It's just space and stuff. The actual ID is whatever location and all that, but this is just a like a text name, which may not even use in game or in editor or whatever, other than just as a display name. But that's what a label is. But um, what I want to do is let's close all these. Close, close, close. Like, okay. Okay, so anyways, since the room has ID and label and actually, what does the room have? Let's go all the way back up here. I actually changes the group their like access functions or their setters and getters with the actual variable if I need to. So we got ID, we got label, we have description, in, inbound rooms and door specs. Yes, that's also part of. Okay, and a doors array. Oh, that's okay. That's another interesting thing that I didn't think about. Doors array. Yeah, I have to figure out about that too. Cause okay, so basically, okay, so room, like you're seeing here, a room has an array of doors, right? Doors that are connected to it. They're also added as children, in the visual part of it, as for this editor map. But they're just arrays of door instances, right? It's just an array of door instances in the regular room class, and so I have a separate deal, right? Visual rooms is going to have visual doors array, rooms are going to have doors array. Hmm. See, I don't know how to reconcile that, code-wise. Because the visual room will have a list of visual doors, but the room class, like the room member, would also have an array of doors that are, I guess, unused. I guess I don't use them. Yeah, I'm not sure how I should work that. How does that work? How would that work? Do I need to fill the doors array um, from the room member in the visual room class, right? Do I need to do that? Should I do that or should I not do that? Well, let's ask Grok, I guess. Also, let me do one more thing. Let's go over here. Let's go to chat. So I have the chat up here. We're gonna shrink this down. In fact, I gotta shrink it down further. So there we go. Like so. I wonder if anybody in the chat, the other chat here, the Rumble chat, nobody in the chats, except for here. Okay. So okay, don't worry about anything else we've done. I'm still working out how to make the room class member. But just for this discussion, I want to talk about the fact that the room class has an array of door members. Or, hey Crasher, I have just started. I'm actually asking Grok a little bit about code. I don't know how much coding you actually know, and GDScript is not that much more difficult than any other deal. So in the room class here, and this is just the plain room class. This is not what you see in the editor. I have an array for the doors. But when I go to Visual Room, I do have an array. I have an array of actual. Actually, where is that? Sorry, I was watching anime a minute ago, so I've used up all my data. So it'll be. Oh, that's okay. I mean, it's cool that you popped in. Yeah, that's cool. Um, so real quick, okay, so I've got uh doors array in the visual room also. So if I make a room a member of the visual room, then they both have doors array. I guess I don't need to fill the doors array. Yeah, I'm having an okay day. I mean, it's a normal day. It's kind of boring, actually. Woke up, made lunch, watched some TV with Dad, and then he's gonna go lay down, and I am in here working. Anyways, about to ask Grok about this problem here. For this, I want to talk about the fact that the room class has an array of doors. It's an untyped array, but doesn't really matter in this case. And then if I and then VisualRoom has its own array to be filled with visual doors. But if VisualRoom contains a room, then that room contains a doors array. So I guess I could just ignore the doors array inside the regular room class. As it pertains to a VisualRoom member. I wonder if it understands what I'm saying. So let's see if it got what I said here. I should start a new conversation. Basically, when you get too long, not only does it forget stuff, but sometimes it crashes, sometimes it doesn't know what it's doing. It takes too long. It just kind of depends. So, managing the doors arrays in your Redot project. Class member VisualRoom. And you want to explore the relationship between the doors array and the room untyped containing door instances and the doors array and VisualRoom untyped containing visual door instances. Your question is whether you can ignore the doors array in the room class when VisualRoom contains a room member, since VisualRoom already manages its own visual door array. I'll keep this concise. Yeah, sure. Populated represents game logic data. VisualRoom class. Visual door representing. Okay. Key point. Room.doors holds door instances. Data for game logic. VisualRoom.doors holds visual door nodes. Visual representation in the editor. Contains door instances potentially duplicating data already. Ignore settings.doors from room and VisualRoom while relying only on visual doors. Because visual doors actually contain a door instance. So, and that's really, and really it's only necessary as far as, like, when you're displaying stuff. In fact, right now, doors don't even display anything, really. So, I mean, I might not even need it in that case. I might be able to just make a straight up doors array in the room class, because right now we're not. That's kind of interesting. I didn't think about that. Visual doors. That's interesting. Instead of having visual doors, well, no, visual doors. Visual doors don't do anything but add a color. So, I mean, I still have a use case for it. And the other thing I could do is any visual door stuff could be handled in the VisualRoom class without a separate door deal. And as far as the doors themselves are concerned, because, well, see, the doors do appear in the editor map, so I can, if I want to change some stuff, I can do it in the editor. But do I strictly need to do it? No, not necessarily. Generally ignore settings that doors in VisualRoom for most editor-related tasks, as visual doors The individual door nodes already manages the visual representation of the doors, and each visual door settings door holds the equivalent door data. However, you shouldn't completely disregard settings.doors because it's a source of truth for game logic data. Synchronized. There is not a problem with that because it's only for the visual part of it, right? So let me think. Um, door. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Visual representation should disregard. Well, settings.doors isn't going to be a thing. Your actual room itself with doors is going to be a thing, and that loads when you load the regular game. So that has nothing to do with the editor map. Like I said, you almost um, and that's another thing. I have a visual representation. It's a Node 2D because in the future, a door node might actually have a graphics or it might have a thing on there. Anyways, handles editor visuals. For game rooms for game logic when saving JSON or running the game. Each visual door in VisualRoom.doors has a settings door that mirrors a door in settings.doors. Accessing visual door settings gives you the same data as settings doors, but with visual context. Uh, you populate visual room doors based on settings.doors. Yes. Kind of see it. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. For creating a visual room, you populate visual room doors based on settings.doors. Hmm. Visual task. Keep arrays synchronized. I don't. Okay. The see, the game itself should have no bearing. Should I say this? Game itself does not use either of the visual classes. So it's just going to load and create from the JSON. Yep. Problem. My only issue is just in the editor map and subsequent layout tool. Since VisualRoom contains a room member settings contains a room member also contains a doors array that will get populated. Yeah, okay, yes. Um, Loading. I wonder if there is a better way to structure this. Notification. Post game. You're right to consider restructuring as the duplicate doors arrays can lead to maintenance issues. To minimize redundancy, a single source of data in VisualRoom and make derived array of visual door nodes synchronized. Changes rely on settings of doors for door data. Simplify VisualRoom. Remove redundant properties. Streamline functions. Yeah. That's normal stuff there. Alternative structure. If redundancy is a big concern, consider removing doors from room and letting VisualRoom manage all the door. Okay, update room, downsize, breaks game logic. Modify these settings to doors as shown. Update get door data test. Iterations. Hmm. Yeah, this is still kind of tricky. Maybe I won't get a lot done today either. Um, I wonder if there's a different way of doing this. It's almost like I need a different kind of class. Like Visual Room should maybe be the single deal. Um, Let me see something here, because maybe I don't need all this extra junk in here as far as the visuals are concerned. Let's check that out just for a second here. Um, 2D. Let's check this out. Okay, let's open Hebert Home here for a second. Door. And the visual door part is the color. Letting the data be data, and see it makes more sense with a C like structure, like a struct or something, right? Where it's a group of aggregate data objects. Um, where I could make the door. Um, how do I say this? It wouldn't need to be a separate class per se. That's an interesting observation. Um, keep. I want to take a new. I want to view this from another angle. Please just give me short, concise answers. I don't need all of this extra stuff about, you know, code proposed, code proposed changes, just some general answering of my questions. Please acknowledge. Um, let's just put aside the visual versions of the classes. Right now, let's just talk a little bit about rooms and doors itself. Please acknowledge. I do the please acknowledge things because I want it just to tell me, you know, not to give me a whole bunch of statement. It might give me a few lines here, but it won't give me like this whole explanation, like this whole advice thing. So that's why I just put that there. Maybe I should be starting a new conversation because this is, it gets kind of slow. Okay. Is there a reason that a door needs to be a separate class? In the JSON, it's just text in the JSON. They're separate JSON objects. I might be able to do the aggregate data thing because some of these other languages, like Python, like the way GDScript is handling stuff, um, they don't need something like a struct, right? Because you can already do an aggregate data object, like an object, right? I can do the curly brackets, and then I can put any kind of different things I want. So that kind of takes place of like a C style struct, right? So yeah. Um, from your understanding, obviously, I wrote the code originally, but I want to get your take on it. Short answers, please. I like to reiterate every time to keep it short. Separate order class is useful because it encapsulates store-specific data, ID choice, destination, and behavior, making room cleaner and modular. It simplifies managing doors as distinct entities in JSON and game logic. Okay. Okay. Uh, from a code perspective, what's the closest thing to a C style struct in GDScript, or even Python has its place on that? So I'm still trying to, you have the aggregate data type. Like I can do type def struct. I can even do that in a class in C++, right? I can still have a class. It'd be like, for instance, the room class. But I just need some aggregate data structure for the door to keep them separated. So I have an array of doors, and they're using structs to do that. Is a class name extending resource with the exported properties? Python, it's a data class. Data class door lightweight data container similar to C struct. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. I'm trying to think of a way to keep door data separate, but uh, included directly in the room class without being an external uh without being an external class of its own. And I don't even know if this is reasonable, viable, a reasonable way to go about it. I don't know. Not even feasible. Feasible. Yeah, I'm not sure because C struct. You usually use them in type def as a type. So I made it. I made it I'd make a struct like it was a type, and then I'd use it as a type, like a variable type. Including door data directly in the room class without a separate door class is reasonable if you want to simplify the structure and reduce the class overhead. You could store doors as an array of dictionaries within room, like var doors array dictionary, where each dictionary holds ID, choice, and destination. This keeps data separate but embedded, though it sacrifices some modularity and some type safety as compared to a door class. It's viable for simpler JSON handling, but may complicate door-specific logic. Hmm. Yeah, I was still thinking about that. The reason I'm having so much trouble and thinking about this is just because uh, is if I simplified it, then I wouldn't have to worry about separate door class for one thing. The reason I was doing a separate door class originally was so that I could see it in the editor. I could actually see the node. The node in the editor would be like this is a node. Because before what I do is I create a door by I have the door class and then I add it because I created it as a class. Then I added the node manually added a door node to it, and so that sort of made sense there. But since the visual stuff is going to be since I don't need it in there normally, at least in the game itself, the way the game works and stuff, I don't need a visual representation of it. So I might not even need the separate door class at all. Dictionary. Let's see. What do I have in there? I got choice, I got destination, and I got ID. And ID is just the label. Of course, we got color here for the visual. I could also use a dictionary that holds an array. And from what I understand, even arrays can have different types, different data types. Of course, then you're accessing it with the number deal. So I have to make sure that, for instance, ID is always element 0, and then choice is element 1, and destination is element 2, 0, 1, and 2. for the three elements. And there is one more aspect I could do, um, and that would require using a dictionary versus an array. And that is if I store the visual door information as a separate array, essentially. I mean, I do have something called door visuals. That's actually for the little colored Rex. But let's see, how does that work? Door visuals actually is, yeah, visual data. Color is just one thing, right? It could almost just be its own array of things. Not sure. That separate door class is reasonable. In C++, I could combine both structs and classes. I mostly use structs in C and C++ via type def. So I could use them as a type, as a data type. The code usually exists in the file that contained in the same file that uses them, or in a header of some sort. Does GD script have anything that could be used like type def? Each similar functionality by defining a class name that extends the resource in the same file as the class that uses it, or in a separate script acting like a header. Reusable data type for your door data within Room. Separate file. It's C/C++ type def struct. Okay. So then I don't have to define a separate object. like right now, I need to create a new instance, new class instance. And C, C++, Sharp, it defined a type instead and just used it like a standard variable. Same file as room and use it as a type without creating a separate object class. Letting you use it as a standard variable type in room's doors array. Or doors. You do have to use new though. But you still have the step of using new. Whereas a type and maybe it isn't any different. Maybe not a raw value type. To minimize this, you can use a dictionary or array or door data in room. You don't need new, but lose type safety and structure of a defined type. Huh. I don't know if type safety is that important to me. I mean, maybe it should be, but I don't know if it is. Hmm. I guess it's not a large uh, difference in code, though, is it? I declare a variable like var I. If I want to initialize it, it's var I equals 0 or whatever. If I want to type it, then I might do something like var I on int equals 0. I don't remember what, I don't remember if GD script has an integer type. Integer type, but this is just to explain. So how much different is our I equals 0 versus var door equals var dot new. Not that big of a change, correct? I might end up retrofitting or changing the room and door classes to be a little bit more lightweight, where it won't be a big difference, but it'll still be a similar to var door. Both declare and initialize a type variable. The main difference is door creates a resource instance while int is a value type. The extra.new is a small syntactic step comparable to initializing struct in C. It's a minor change in practice, just a bit more explicit. Okay. Doesn't sound like a bad deal, actually. Hmm. So let's say I use this lightweight version where it's a small class, the same file as the room. How do I I don't know, I guess I handle it like I handled the other, right? Let's see something here. Check the door here. This is essentially doing what that's saying. My only difference here is I have a static creation function. It's almost the same as what I'm doing already, except I have a static creation function. almost the same as what I'm doing already, except I have a static creation function. So it doesn't make sense to change it. All I would be doing is moving the code from the separate door.gd file into room.gd, correct? So this whole line of thinking is it doesn't really matter because that's really what I'm doing anyways. I'm not even doing anything extra to moving that code, relocating the door code from door, keeping the same functionality. It's not worth changing unless you want to consolidate files for simplicity. Okay. I have a static create function instead of using door new and then setting the variable, setting the fields afterwards. And actually it simplifies that. So that's, I don't really need to do that then, I guess. Okay. I do kind of wonder, okay. Okay, so that whole conversation wasn't really useful to me then. Oh, sideways, smiley. Face. Let's see. See if it recognizes a smiley face. I mean, it should. I just put it on the end and it doesn't have any bearing with anything, so it should be able to understand what I was trying to do. Not that it knows anything about smiling or happy or anything like that. It's just recognizes what the character combination is meant to be. Meant to convey an emotion like you would with an emoji. So weird, you know. We used to call them smileys, and sometimes a frowny if it was a frowny face. You know, smiley face, frowny face, smileys, basically, was a generic term. And then later, they started calling them emoticons. You're like, emoticon? What do you mean emoticon? It's a smiley. Fair enough. Thanks for the honesty. Since the angle wasn't helpful, I'm going to back to your original concern about VisualRoom doors. Um, you know, this is okay. So this is one thing that I just realized something. Um, I'm kind of going, well, the only thing that differentiates a visual door from a regular door is the fact that the visual door has a color associated with it. Now, if it was a something like a Node 2D or whatever, where it could have graphics associated, like in the future, I could create a graphics for the door. You know, whatever that means, graphics or area or whatever. In other words, I might have more kind of visual stuff that has to do with doors. But I can always make sure that that the data is in sync and just have separate, like a separate class. Like the visual part would be a separate class, and it would all it would have was a color field. Now, obviously, you could just do that with this with a single variable, color, an array of colors, which represent different door colors. But I do it in a separate class just so that you could name it whatever you name it, and that way, visual door would not contain anything. Your room would contain the room and door data. Your visual room could contain it. Your regular room doesn't need to. How do I say that? Actually, visual room stuff could actually be. That's an interesting thought. Like the name label and the box and everything. Okay, so if I embedded, like I was doing anyways, if I embedded the room resource, if I embedded the room into the visual room, I think kind of spinning my wheels today. Uh, let's see. I keep the room and data like it is. Visual room would I don't even know what I'm trying to think of here or what I'm trying to do here. Uh, I'm 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 trying to think of something. I don't know if I'm overcomplicating in my head or what, right? Okay, so what I'm thinking is whenever I need separate door information, visual information, I don't need a separate visual door class, right? I embed the room, an instance of the room class, which has its own doors array, into the visual room. When I need separate door visual stuff, uh, then I can make it its own class, visual door class, like I have it. But the visual door class would not include door as a member. It doesn't need to include door as a member. The visual room class needs to include visual door structure as a member uh, to define the visual part of it, I think. Okay. I guess what I'm trying to think of is Could I get away with having a single visual room? Okay, so okay, visual room, visual door, visual room. I don't know if it would complicate things because I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is I'm thinking of a room container class. Really, is what I'm thinking of. A room container would be slightly different yet, and it might be overcomplicating the whole data structure thing, right? So, a room container could contain just the room, which contains door instances, right? Like the array, right? It'll contain doors. So I'd only need a room class, and then the so it would need that embedded. Think about something. I'm trying to see if there is a way to simplify everything and maybe make it more efficient. I was considering that maybe Visual Door uh, doesn't include a regular door, but instead includes only the visual part, which in this case is just a door color. So they separate visual door class with just a one member at the moment. Visual room would include the regular room class as a member, and then also a separate visual door class. That corresponds. Okay. Simplify, optimize by rethinking visual door to only handle visual aspects without embedding a door instance. Having visual room include a room member alongside a separate visual door class for visuals that correspond to room stores. I'll keep the answer short. Is yes, this is a viable approach. Separating the visual door to only manage visuals and keeping door data in room stores array reduces redundancy, clarifies responsibilities. Visual room with a room member and a visual door array for visuals can streamline the editor logic by decoupling data from presentation. Yes, visual door becomes lightweight, just color a position, reducing complexity. Room stores hold all the door data, avoiding duplication, clear separation, room for game data, visual room, visual door for visuals, trade-offs. You need to map visual door instances to rooms doors, e.g. by index or ID, which adds a minor sync logic. Slightly smaller Visual door instances, fewer properties, faster visual door processing, no significant runtime impact. Syncing visual door with rooms doors adds a small overhead, but it's negligible in the editor. How would it work? In fact, I could even include an index field to represent where it is. I'd have to keep it. I'd have to have a logic to keep it contiguous. Contiguous. How do you pronounce it? No, no settings, door, just visual properties, visual room, bar settings, room, visual doors, array untyped, visual door instances, maps visual doors to settings doors by index or ID. Right. Create visual door from settings doors. Use the settings doors visuals update. Ensuring visual doors matches settings doors requires careful index or ID management. If visual door needs more visual properties later, you'll need to expand it. Well, that's the point. The visual door class will have the extra deals. Editor only. No impact on game runtime, so efficiency gains are editor specific. It's a good simplification if you want to minimize visual door's scope and clarify data versus visuals. It's not a drastic efficiency boost, but it reduces code complexity. Worth trying if you're okay with adding sync logic. Huh. Okay. I mean, it would just trying to keep the stuff separate, I think. Okay, there's that. And then there's a slight alternative, which is also I didn't think about this. I could let's see. Let me think for a second. Uh I do have one more angle. Well, I'm not sure if it's really an angle though. If it's a thing, I don't know. I could have a door class that contains two instances of other class. Um, so like if Visual Door was a class, even a lightweight one, and then the door data this would make it easier to kind of keep them together, where I don't have to specifically index both. So, and I don't know, it does add a different kind of complexity to it. So I could have the visual door class, which is only visual items. I could have the door class. I do have one more angle. I don't know if it wouldn't be more trouble than it's worth though. Another way would be a class that contains, let's say, the door data, ID, destination, etc. A class that contains visuals, separate visual door class that has the color member. This would collectively be door. The door class. It's a container class. It's a container class. So that data and visuals are still together but separate. When loading in-game, it would simply leave the visual door member null, so it wouldn't need to even use the visual portion. Likewise, do that same thing with the room class. Room is a container for room data and visual room. Again, can totally ignore. Again, the actual game can totally ignore the visual portion of it. There'd have to be a few things. Like there'd be some overhead, like creation and stuff. Might be some overhead in creation of it. You don't call create on the visual aspects when running a game. Might be too overcomplicated. Might be overcomplicated. Explore another angle to simplify. Door and room container classes each holding data component and a visual component, where the game ignores the visual parts, leaving them null, and the editor uses both. You're wondering if this is worth it or overcomplicated. It's viable container door class holding door data, optional visual door, and a container room class holding room data, and optional visual room separates data and visuals clearly. The game can use door data and room data, ignoring null visual components, while the editor uses both. There's some somewhat clear separation for game logic. Eliminates visual door settings duplication as door contains both. Trade-off. Adds complexity with container classes requiring careful management of data/visual references. More classes increase organization effort. Slightly in game. Game ignores so no runtime overhead. Door data are lightweight, similar to door and room. Editor overhead. Creating container instances add minor memory processing costs, syncing data, and visuals add small overhead. But the thing is then it doesn't need to sync because they're already synced. They're already in the same container. Door class. Door data as pair visual, there's doors, color, room class, array of doors. Yes. Okay. Okay. Game. General editor. Extra container classes adds creation steps in memory. Complexity, managing data/visual relationships, ensuring visual color matches data is more involved. It shouldn't be that more involved. Um, the sync shouldn't be an issue as each visual door is in the same container as the door data. That way I don't have to index into separate arrays. It's just a single array. This might be a case of where I should take the take this as it is and then make a copy of the folder, make a backup of the folder. And even though I still have the backup on in GitHub, but make a backup of the folder. Change no. So that I can, yeah, just make a copy of it. The difference is I'll have to see if I can remove the GitHub data so that it doesn't attempt to add it as a part of the repository or whatever. I think. Or am I mistaken? You're not mistaken. If door is a container class with both door data and visual door, and room has a single, there's no need to to sync separate arrays. Each store instance holds its own data and visual. So room stores array is the only array to manage. This eliminates indexing issues. See, that's what I thought. Let me know what's next. I think I have enough to be able to do it. Um, requires significant code rewrite, but I'm pretty sure I can do it. Thanks. Okay, well, granted, I didn't get anything physically done in this first hour and a half, even though I was here the whole time, even though, really I just had a discussion with Grok, but it's given me some idea about what to do. And I think I'm going to do it. It's going to be kind of a pain, and it also means postponing the game. I don't know. I don't know if it's postponing the game or not. Quick question. If I make a copy of my folder that serves as my GitHub desktop repository for my game, but I call it a different name, different folder name. Is this going to affect GitHub desktop any? As long as you don't modify the Git folder inside the repository. I don't want to track it. I'm using it as its own kind of backup. I just don't want to recognize the copy or any changes within it. And this is funny. I should be able to use Grok over here. Okay, because I'm gonna make a copy anyways. Before I start this major like rewrite, this major migration change, whatever. It's gonna take a while. Anyways, I'm gonna go on my break, and I'll be back in about 30 minutes. And I'm turning my mic off. Hopefully I'll remember to turn it back on when I come back. Okay, I am back. Give me a second. Okay. See something. Okay, let me go to back to desktop. Desktop. Okay, here we go. Um, I be okay. I'm doing as a hub desktop repository. Is that going to affect current? So I just want to make a backup of the project folder, even though I am using GitHub desktop, GitHub desktop desk. GitHub desktop repository will not affect the current repository. Independent duplicate. Copy folder will include the project files in the Git folder, which contains the Git repository's history and configuration. The copy will be a standalone repository. It's made, and the copy will not affect the original repository's connection to disk hub. Tracks repositories based on a file path. The copy folder will not be automatically recognized by GitHub desktop unless you explicitly add it as a new repository. It will remain unaffected in the GitHub desktop. Interact with the remote repository unless you explicitly push changes. Locate the repository folder, find the folder containing your project in the Git subfolder. This is your Git repository. Copy the folder. Use your current operating file explorer, Finder, and macOS to copy the entire folder to new location. Okay. Ensure the copy contains a Git subfolder. The functional Git repository identical to the original. Do not add the copy folder unless you intend to treat it as a separate repository. Folder in GitHub. Now back to GitHub. File locks. Copy the folder and delete the Git subfolder in the copy. This makes it a plain folder without Git functionality. I don't need it to be its own repository, so I don't need the Git history with it. Simply employing additional backup, which is usually standard practice for me when I want to make big changes. I can simply remove the Git folder in the copy. Yes. The folder, delete the Git folder in the copy, locate the Git folder, delete the Git folder, verify the backup. Okay, I don't need to do that. So let's do the thing here. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's go to read projects. Copy, paste. Rename. Okay, one. I'm calling it BK1 because it's a backup. Git. Okay. Go ahead and do this. I'm gonna delete. In fact, I probably don't even need this extra stuff here, like the design documents and stuff. Uh, yeah. So let's delete this. Delete. Okay. It still has Git folder, still has that in it. Okay. Okay, nothing here. Let's go to yeah. Let's All right. We'll do this. OS. Go to here. Okay, just making sure everything is everything. I'll do this, so I'll save it again. Okay. Alrighty. I now can add junk to this. This is going to be a big pain in the tuchus. But I'm going to mitigate it by... starting to happen just like yesterday. I'm good until about lunch, until I have the second cup of coffee, which is like the opposite. Um, I'll tell you what. I'll be right back. Let me go get something. So I'm gonna end up doing a major rewrite of the whole system. Well, major, in a way it's a major rewrite. In a way it's not a major rewrite. In the fact that um, I'm still going to be using some of the code, some of the source files. I'm gonna rename a few things. We'll figure this out here. Um, I might call the new class room container. I am just staring at my code here because I'm still trying to think of how to conceptualize it. Um, I don't know how to think about it, or whatever. Like this here is the existing door class. Let me ask Grok something here. How much my game? Fully interactive. Right. Okay. Base system, linear main story, fixed end goal, focus on narrative choices, implemented looping approach. Okay. First of all, scenes key the narrative device with this feedback. Room hierarchy. Okay. It's got the old names. For the most part. Unimportant. The room names are quite a bit different now. That's not too important. Right now, okay. Okay, so what do you know the room and door structure and the visuals based on our previous conversations? No, yeah. And custom editor layout. changed a bit. I'm doing manual room placement now. Since automatic placement was such a problem, I just put them where I want. The current file naming convention is a location ID number. Three-digit followed by a somewhat descriptive name and ended with a number. There were more at the same location. Please keep answers short and concise and only answer or give advice when I explicitly ask for it. Please acknowledge okay. Went back to the idea of encapsulation, yep, composition versus inheritance. It seemed let's see. But since I was duplicating some data, I've come up a new idea of how to structure everything. Firstly, rooms and doors are now just resources, essentially game data. Visual rooms and visual doors are for the visuals, of course. Please acknowledge. Okay. A problem arose where visual door contained an instance of the door class. Arose which was fine, but the problem came in when I'm attempting to rewrite VisualRoom to include a room as a member. I'm attempting to rewrite because a room already has an array for doors. So essentially, I might have had to ignore a doors array because visual door was that. So it just made everything more confused. Acknowledge. Okay. So a final solution then, what is going to be to create a room and door container classes, which house both a door room door room data and door room visuals, where in the game it would simply ignore the visual members but still use the room and door data. Acknowledge. This means I don't have to worry about syncing visual data and actual data because they're contained in a single container. Need to sync visual data. Okay, and then my special editor map scene will use both visual and regular data. Okay. I actually forgot what I was going to. Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I should leave my picture off. I guess I'll leave it here though. Um. Okay. So let's see something here. Uh-oh. YouTube is not showing. Why is the YouTube uh, back here? I don't know why Restream isn't posting the chat here. Okay. Let's go back here. I forgot what I was asking to do for. So, and I'm gonna put it on no webcam for a second. Um, this happened yesterday too. I guess it's because of the sleep thing. I need to make sure I go to sleep on time. It's like I was fine up until my break, and I was making the coffee, and then I sat down and I started drinking the coffee, and then the other stuff ran out of power. So now I'm just having a hard time thinking through stuff now. Okay. Question. Oh, what was I going to say about the container class? Okay. Let's see. Mm, 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 mm. I can't remember what I was going to ask. Okay. Editor map. I need to make sure I get to sleep on time. I think that's it, our detriment. That's yeah. People are gonna want to watch me fall asleep all the time. That's stupid. I can't think of the question I was gonna ask though. Now, can't think of it. Why can't I think of that? Some question I was just gonna ask. Okay, maybe I'll just ask it to give me some advice here. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on using this container approach? Maybe it'll trigger something. Maintain clean separation concerns, and the editor use both manual room placement and door connections as relevant data is encapsulated in one place. Make debugging easier as you're not juggling multiple class hierarchies or redundant arrays. Ensure container classes are lightweight to avoid performance hits in the game. Keep them maintainable. Okay, so right resources. That's okay. That's the other thing, right, is accessing. Um, kind of difficulties will I encounter when attempting to expose non-visual properties in the editor, the inspector? Click mark with the export. Okay. Continue with the doors away. Non-visual properties reference other resources by ID or path inspector and let's do parent custom. Huh. Clear type hints, implement appropriate filtering, test inspector interactions thoroughly. Well, doesn't look like I'll have made any progress today. I mean, I could start. The door isn't going to be as big of a problem. Visual door, door, and visual door. And okay, so how does this work? This is here is a node 2D, which is a room. A visual room is a node 2D, right? Node 2D. Settings is empty. That's correct. It's empty right now because of the way I got things working right now. So one thing that I know, and that is the class, for instance, the door. Okay, let's actually go to a door here. Here's the door. Now it's got settings, right? These are the door settings. They're exposed because door, see visual door is there, and then the door settings are there because uh their resource. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, okay, so right now, Oh, you know what? Okay, so right now a visual room is a node 2D. Hmm. And it's and the room settings are exposed in the inspector. In order to expose so if I'm coupling the visuals from the data, the container probably needs to be something that can be added as a child, like a plain node, correct? Decoupling visuals from data, making the room main node, child and seed tree makes sense. This allows it to both hold the room resource, game data, and visual room, while keeping non-visual properties exposable in the inspector. Right. Um, in context, um, what exactly is a plain node as you understand it? Base class for all nodes in C-tree, providing core functionality like parenting, naming, and lifecycle signals. Without specific features like 2D, 3D transforms, visuals, or physics, it's a lightweight, generic container that can hold scripts, properties, child nodes, make it ideal for organizing data, for logic without spatial visual overhead. In your case, using a node as the room container allows it to store the room resource, game data, and visual room as a child while exposing non-visual properties in the inspector via export that integrates into the scene tree under editor map that adding unnecessary 2D transform properties like node TD. Okay, that makes sense. So, a container. Oh, okay. Right. So the door is a node TD. Now, of course, this is a visual door, but we're gonna do it differently. I'm gonna do it differently, right? Okay. So, let's go ahead and okay. I guess I should add a script, right? A new script. Huh. Yeah. What's Actually, I had to do this in context of the game. Okay. The room manager, that's right. And we're gonna go ahead and this out, this out, that out. Okay. Really pretty lightweight. I do say so myself. Change room calls load room, I think. Oh, you know what? This does not even do anything. It loads the room. Okay. Fire room equals null. Create from JSON. Return room. So this doesn't even have anything to do with over here, with the visuals at all, which makes sense, I guess. Create from JSON. New room equals room.new. Load data by JSON from JSON. Create and attach door nodes. Door.create. Hmm. Yeah, I have, I don't know, some weirdness in here, really. Um, why did I come back but twice there? That's weird. And do back twice. Strange. Anyways, the game itself does not. I would assume the game itself. Would not need the container. I could still use the room and door classes. This it's only important when it comes to see. Oh, grouping the You're correct. The game itself can likely use room and door resources class directly. They don't contain the necessary game. They contain the necessary game data. Containing classes used in plain node are primarily needed in the editor to group room and door data with their visual room and door counterparts for visualization, inspector, and exposure. This keeps the game lightweight while supporting editor functionality. Okay. Yeah, and another problem, another issue I'm having is with the so I do that. Do I need a separate, how do we say that? No, I'm not actually putting the containers. The containers aren't going. Okay, let's see. Um, hmm, door container, room container. Hmm. I don't know. I'm still a little confused here. Room and doors are separate. Okay, so conceptually, a room container. Okay. I do. It's like, okay, do I run into the same kind of problem? Uh, Pardon me. Room container should include array door containers. That right? Yes, a room container should include an array of door containers to group each door resource game data with corresponding visual, mirroring the room's doors array. Manage both data and visuals cohesively while the game uses only room and door resources. Okay. So I'm still adding the the room container. Hmm. Okay, let's do something then. We're gonna do a rename. Door data and room data. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna rename this door data. Or actually that. Okay. Yeah. Ew, errors. Actually, I wonder something. They shouldn't have done anything to these, right? It doesn't. Okay, that's good. Uh, but the errors here. Door data. Create. Oh, it did it. Did it delete these? No, it didn't delete those, right? Because I didn't do. Okay. Door data. Can't resolve. External class member create. Door data. Oh. Invalid call. Okay. VisualRoom. 152. Invalid call. Why is that an invalid call? .152 visual door dot create. Setting store data. Create. Return visual door, new doors, visual door new. Door data that create. I don't understand. Hmm. Okay, let's do a search, find in files, door, match case. Room. Door data. Okay, let's do a forgot. Okay, let's okay, let's do this. Everything is saved. Clear that out. Reload save scene. I don't know why that's a problem now. VisualRoom 152 visualdoor.create. And these rooms are still here, right? Everything's still here, right? Good. Okay. Trying to rename door to door data, and I'm encountering something weird. Let me paste the relevant code. Give me a few moments. Map. Okay. Some save. It's nothing to do with anything here. All I'm doing is shoot. I should remove all that crap. Okay, there's nothing to do with anything. Door data. Okay. Select all. Copy. Door data. G colon V. Copy. For room D V. All. Copy. Visual door.gd. Um, all copy. Visual.gd. And select all. Copy. Editor mount dot g LV. error I'm getting. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? A create function in Visual is defined as static, and the call is not properly referenced in the renamed or the create function in Visual Door is correctly implemented and uses door data to create instantiate a door data resource. Failing to recognize Visual Door create likely due to one of the following. Class registration issue. The class name Visual Door and Visual Door.gd might not be properly registered, causing readout to misinterpret as generic. To be parsed after into temporary state as undefined, catching editor bug, syntax reference error. I can do that at least. Close and reload. Let's do that. Since that is the least problematic. No errors. And let's see if I can control S. Let's go to data. Just delete this. Okay. Apparently closing and restarting redot fixed it. Acknowledged. Closing and restarting. Alright. We need to do the same thing with room data. Rename data. That. Okay. Data. Let's go all the way to the top. Room data. Okay. Okay, let's go to edit, find, and search, find, and files. Room. Match case. Find. How many do we have in here? 100. Find files. Let's make that room dot find. Okay, room data. data, room, data. Okay, so let's do the same thing over again. No errors, and still no errors. Good. Visual door, visual room. Can you come up with a better name than visual room? Or, oh, oh well. That's okay. I need to be done today anyways. I was hoping there'd be a better name visual data, visual room and visual door. The room and door classes are now going to have, like I said, both classes. Okay. So let me do my little recording for the end of the day. Start recording. Okay, today is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. And today I didn't get a whole lot done, honestly. I have been trying to go over this whole structure of how to do room and visual room and door and visual door, because a visual room would have a room instance, um, which would also have door instances. But the visual doors, the visual room also has an array of visual doors, and visual doors have their own door data. So I'd have to, ignore one type of data for another, and I figured an easier way would be to make room and doors containers that would hold the visual room and visual door, but also the room and door data. So it'd be more of a composition thing than inheritance or even the encapsulation part of it. So yeah, I didn't get a whole lot today. I did rename door to door data and room to room data to prepare for those eventual changes. So that's all I did for today. Okay, that'll about do me for today. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, whatever, listening, if you were. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.